Hello everyone, welcome to the third edition of the Gurumantra podcast season 3. And here is your Guru Chan Kumar, ESS teacher. Today we have a student guest speaker, Kushagra Bhardwaj, who scored 7 points in the ESS and total 40 points in the IB for the class of 2023. Kushagra, welcome to the season 3 Gurumantra podcast and introduce yourself for our audience.
Hello, Guru sir. Hello, everybody. As Guru sir have said, my name is Kushagra Bhardwaj, and I completed my IB Diploma Program from Pathways World School. I scored 40 points in the program, and currently I am studying commerce for my bachelor's from NorthCap University, Gurugram. I have interests in the discipline of economics. Hence, I read, surf YouTube, and other social media exploring the same. I also like reading articles about global politics as it closely relates to economics and gives me insights about what is happening around the world. Hello everyone.
Very good. Thank you, Kushaga. We will directly go into the paper 1 related question. Could you please brief your success story in the paper 1 of the ESS exam? What strategy or technique did you employ to achieve such an outstanding result?
Thank you, sir. I am very thankful to you for our preparation that you made for us. You know, all the booklets. So they are one big part in my success for paper 1, and there were some major strategies which I employed to get a good score. I got a 7 in paper 1, so my strategies they were all about time management. So first of all, it was reading the resource booklet properly. So by reading the resource booklet properly, you will get 70% of your answers and key terms there itself. So you won't have to be thinking about everything that what you need to write in your paper booklet, in your answer booklet, and you will get a lot of information there as well. So the paper, the resource booklet, it also gives you insights about the theme of the paper, right? So in our IB paper, the booklet was all about sustainability. So when I went through the booklet, I sort of had an idea what sort of questions will be there in the answer, and I was able to make up my mind on what type of answer I'll be giving. And the second strategy was follow the sequence of the paper. Now I know you always advise us to go for the 6 marker first, but personally, how it works for me is I answer according to the structure of the paper. Maybe it helps my flow of thoughts and the coherence of the paper and how I approach it. So I go with the paper like starting from the first question to the last question in order. So, and it also helps because I was personally able to finish all my 1 or 2 markers within like 30 minutes, and I got like half an hour for the 6 marker. And also all the content which I wrote in my 1 or 2 markers, I use it to write my 6 marker. So all that time management and using like 30 minutes for all the short questions, and I used all of them to write my long answer. So yeah, that's how it helps.
Very good. So, Kushaka, can you tell what are the common challenges you face when answering the paper 1 question, and how did you overcome them? Are there any specific strategy approach you employed to tackle these challenges in the paper 1?
Okay, so paper 1 is for 1 hour. So that's a very short time period. You have all sort of thoughts going through your mind before the paper, and everybody gets nervous when they're handed the question booklet. So the key for this was time management. I was not so good at it first because I remember when you gave us a sample paper of paper 1 to us, I was not able to complete the paper. And it was basically because I didn't know how I like to answer the paper, because I saw it for the first time, right? So I was not able to like put myself in the 1 hour time period. I required like 1.5 hours to answer the whole paper. So I guess time management is the key for paper one. Like spending too much time on mathematical questions which are like 1 or 2 marks only. I mean, that is sort of a disaster for you in paper one, because I have, even me, and I've talked to many of my friends. We, after writing our papers in summatives, like in paper one questions, we used to talk and only talk about our mathematical questions, because I guess math was important to us. So we were just only talking about the mathematical questions which were only for like 1 or 2 marks, right? But I guess those were not that important because they only carried 1 or 2 marks. And most people, what they do is they get on the mathematical question and they stay there until and unless they will not answer the question, they won't move forward. So that is one big mistake, and it really uh, destroys your time management. So yeah. And the second thing is not connecting findings in previous questions to the 6 marker. So when I approached the 6 marker, I connected to all of the answers are given in 1 or 2 markers, because it helps and gives me information about how I need to write my 6 marker. For example, I found some facts in my 2 marker. I wrote 2 points there. So I'll surely use them in my 6 marker as well. It will enhance the quality of my answer. And as you have told us many times, paper one is all about the key terms and all the information you can put in there. So I guess the 1 or 2 markers, you can use them to write your 6 marker. Yeah, that is how it helps to tackle the challenges which I faced, time management and writing the 6 marker somewhere. Yeah.
Good. So basically, the success of your ESS paper one to get a 7, the time management. So your next
Yeah.
question is that, do you have any tips or strategy for allocating the time to different section or question within the paper one for your other students?
For me particularly, these time dynamics, I worked on them. I've timed myself like 2 or 3 times. So I was able to find out that I usually take like approximately 30 minutes for all the 1 or 2 markers, and I have like 30 minutes, not exactly 30 minutes because you need revision time as well. So I would like take 25 minutes for my 6 marker. I don't know, it just happens naturally to me. I just finish all the short questions early. And if I don't get them, I leave them, because they're just 2 markers. I can't sacrifice my 6 marker for a 2 marker or a 1 marker. So any small question I don't get, I just leave it blank, because I will be penalized for only for like 1 mark. It's better to write my 6 marker properly rather than wasting my time on a 1 marker I'm not getting like during the paper, right? So
Good.
yeah, that's one about time management.
Good.
But also
So,
one thing important is you need to keep 5 to 7 minutes for revision. That is important because you will be able to capture all your thoughts together after just revising the paper, and all the little mistakes here and there, units and everything, which can small mistakes, they can get your answers out of the marking scheme, and you won't be marked fully for the paper, I mean fully for your answer. Then I mean revision time is very important for you.
so you're talking about last 5 minutes, the golden hour.
Yeah, last 5 minutes. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Kushagra, can you tell how a student can solving the ESS paper, be a especially ESS past paper, help students to prepare for the paper one, and what strategy you have employed while practicing from the past paper?
Okay, so basically these past papers, they provide you with many points and inform you about the structure of the paper, right? uh, when you come to DP and you choose ESS, you're naive about paper one. You don't know what the structure is all and what timings are there for the paper. You just know that there are some questions you need to solve, right? Right. So, I mean, past papers, they help you to understand the structure, and in accordance to that, you can plan your time. So that is how I used past papers. And I always check the marking scheme. I remember giving answers and you would mark them incorrect as they were not in the marking scheme. So I guess reading the marking scheme, it's very important to just uh, uplift your grades in paper one, because if you don't give those specific jargons of ESS, I guess you won't score any marks. I mean, paper one is supposed to be very specific. You should write specific answers which should be crisp. So I guess that is one thing which I use the past papers for, to understand the structure and going through the marking scheme to understand how to write my answers correctly so they come in the marking scheme.
Brilliant. So Kushagra, now we are moving to a question related to paper 2. Now tell me, what factors should be considered when selecting essay question for paper 2? How does one ensure a well-rounded coverage of the syllabus while you're answering on the paper 2 essay question?
Okay. So the strategy I used, okay, it will be different for many people how they approach that, how they approach paper 2. So for me personally, I would first check the 9 marker and the 4 marker, because I guess the set of questions for paper 2 about uh, the 9 marker is very important, because I mean it contains the maximum points which can be awarded to you. So of course you should first always look for the 9 marker. If you understand the question and you understand it needs and what it requires out of you, you should just go for it. Okay. And uh, because the set of all these 3 questions, the 4 marker, 7 marker, and the 9 marker, they're interrelated. They cover like a whole topic out of the syllabus, right? And you have to write, you have to choose 2 sets of these 3 questions. So I guess answering these 2 sets, it really helps in the coverage of all the syllabus. Moving forward, the 9 marker has the most marks. Hence, it is very important to consider. Further, the 4 marker, it should also be considered as it is the smallest question and it should take least of your time. So what I personally did was, it was a mistake which I did. I used to take a lot of time to write my 4 marker, right? I used to take like 30 minutes for my 4 marker, and it was not at all important earlier, not on the paper. I mean, it would have been a disaster there. But earlier, when you gave us our first handout of paper 2, the long style questions, I gave it a lot of time for the 4 marker. And I guess there is where I learned that how time management works. Because if I give all my time to a 4 marker, what time will I get for my 9 marker or my 7 marker? And I'm by no means saying that 7 markers are not at all important. I mean, if you are correct with your 4 marker and your 9 marker, the 7 marker will always fall in the place. Okay. So because they this set of questions, they follow like some sort of a similar theme, some sort of similar unit. So the 7 marker will always fall in place. And it is always important to remember to comprehensively add all information you have with relation to the question in your answer. So everything and anything you know from the syllabus, you can add it in your 9 marker. Like you used to say, just write some stories or songs in your 9 markers. You can write them, but all you should know is your answer, especially your 9 marker, it should have a lot of information which should be with respect to the syllabus and what the question demands from you. Yeah.
That's a good tips. So now tell me, could you share some study tips, especially aimed at revising at a paper 2 for your IB examination for ESS?
Okay. So for me, when I was revising for paper 1, I took it as similar to paper 2 section A. They are alike because both of them, they require short answer. So for section A of paper 2, you require the similar time management skills like you do in paper 1. So when I was revising my paper 1, I always side by side parallelly revised for my paper 2 section A as well. So I mean that is a good time management strategy you could use. Like while answering paper 1, you know that you are also working on your paper 2 section A skills. Also, I'm open to share that I used to make again this time management mistake. I guess time management is the key for ESS papers. You should not put more of your time in some small questions. Put more time in the long essay answers and the 6 markers. That is the key. And also, while answering the 9 marker, you should give multiple perspectives in your answer. Hence, revising your notes, it does help. I remember, you used to tell us that always have a TOK perspective to your answers. Use different sides and different perspectives, different environmental value systems to approach your 9 markers and your 6 markers. Yeah, I guess that really helps to revise paper 2, because when you get your logic in place, like, I mean, I'm not getting an example right now in my mind. like global warming. You used to tell us that everybody says that global warming is bad, it is heating up the planet. But you know, what about the new economical opportunities it is opening for people to do agriculture in the areas where there are still ice caps? I mean, global warming would certainly help people in the north to, you know, do farming and earn some economical value from stuff. So I guess so that is how, that's an example how you should always have two perspectives for things, good and bad. And it will be important for you to revise the environmental value systems, because they give you all these points, the positives and the negatives, and the answer should always be well balanced.
That's a brilliant one, Kushagra. You now tell me, as a topper in the ESS class, what are some common mistakes the student usually make in the paper 2, as per your knowledge?
Giving a lot of time to section A, that is my a personal mistake that I always used to make. Like I said, like so many times before. I mean, I just want to say that, you know, just manage your time, give small time to small questions. That's it. And for the other mistake, only reading the 4 marker and not reading the 9 marker properly. So I won't take the name. I had this friend after I had no our summatives. We were just generally talking about the paper, and you know, how did it go, paper 2. So I asked him how did he approach the question, and he went like, "Man, I didn't see the whole paper. I didn't see the all 3 questions. I just saw the 4 marker there, and I just went with the flow. So by the time he came down to the 9 marker, he didn't even get what to write. He just wrote something, I don't know, completely out of place. Uh, but yeah, he scored okay. He passed, but then I guess that is a big mistake. You should
Yes,
always read the 9.
Yes, I know that student. Is it that your friend name start first letter D?
I
No.
won't say, sir.
So Kushagra, now can you tell me, were there any particular topics or concept that you found more challenging in the paper 2? And how did you approach these difficulties?
With respect to concepts and topics, I didn't face any difficulty as such, because I believe that if you concentrate in class, you know, only for like out of 1 hour, you only teach for like 40 minutes, and the rest of the time you give us leisure time. I'm so thankful to you for that. You know, it doesn't make our schedule hectic. Uh, so yeah, I'm just saying that if you concentrate when you're teaching, or when any teacher for any subject, this is for like any subject, if you just concentrate for a little time, you don't have to do the extra work, you know, like just going to home and revising everything again and again and again. You just concentrate for like 1 hour or like 30 minutes, you'll get all the concepts and topics in place. You just have to understand the logic behind these topics. But as you said, the difficulty which I faced, so one difficulty which I faced was, you know, my stubborn attitude towards answering a question. I mean, earlier in the stage when for paper 2, I used to like see a question, and I would like, I had this feeling in my mind, if I can't just, you know, answer this question, I'm of no good. So I had this stubborn attitude that I will answer this question and then I'll move on to the next question. I won't move before that. So I guess that was a big difficulty which I faced personally. And you know, time teaches its lesson. I used to score lesser in these long answers because of my stubborn attitude. I went through it by, you know, practicing myself and timing myself for paper 2, and all the past papers you sent us for paper 2. I used to time myself, and I understood my mistake and I worked on it, and that's how I uh, got over it.
Very good. Self-preparation plays a very important role. So Kushagra,
Yeah.
now we are going to move some IA related question in ESS. I still remember your IA. First, you selected some topic and how did we change it? And then how you gone through selecting each and every data. I hope you remember before we submission to the IB, how much feedback we had and you suddenly changed. That is a fantastic journey. And of course, that's the one reason you got ESS IA 7. Your IA is an exemplar IA for each and everyone. Now, can you tell me, have you used the ESS Gurumantra website during your IA? How did it aid in your research and analysis in the ESS IA journey?
Yeah. So firstly, I'm very thankful to you that you made this wonderful website for all the students, to just go there and, in our, not in our free time, I guess, even when we are in school, we can just, go to the website and just look through even in your lessons in ESS lessons, we can just open this website and look, uh, uh, sample IEs. So for me personally, Guru Mantra, it really helped me, because it was the first source I used to understand the concept of IA. Because coming from MYP, I didn't know anything about IA except personal project. So when I went through your IA, sample IAs on Guru Mantra, I was able to understand how to structure an IA and what it basically requires of you. So I went through the bibliography and understood the depth required in the research to score a 7. I remember, going through this IA, which was like a 26 marker. And my personal tip to all the students who want a 7 in IA or who want to score good in IA is that always choose IAs which on Guru Mantra, which are 25 marks or above. Don't look below that, I guess, because if you set your example, I mean, choose your role model to be like a 26, you will score lesser than that. You can't score higher than that by taking inspiration from a 26 marker. You'll fall in the range of like 20s, early 20s, from 20 to 23. So I guess always choose your sample IAs which are which score high, like 25 and above. So that would be a good thing. And this is how Guru Mantra basically helps us. It gives us all the information we require and all the samples we require to, just get our thoughts uh, in process to understand this whole concept of IA in ESS, and how what sort of research you need to do and what all the mathematical part you need to involve in it. So yeah, that is how it really helps.
Good. So now tell me, what are your top 3 tips to the other students who are studying ESS to score 7 on the ESS IE? I want the top 3 tips.
The first one I already gave, just look at an IA 25 or above. Don't look below that. I guess you will score below that. I mean, mostly. I mean, if you're an exception, you're an outlier, congrats to you. But I guess you should always look for IAs which score 25 or above, not less than that. And second tip is don't write a math IA. I've seen many of my friends, they came for feedback and then you just told them to go off because they wrote a math IA instead of ESS IA. They concentrated on the mathematical part so much that there was no ESS left to explain. So yeah, I guess don't write a math IA, instead of just go and talk about the topic of ESS more. I mean, math is very much important to justify claims in the IA, but don't write a math IA completely. So yeah, that's one thing. And other thing is have objectivity in your research. Use like a lot of resources and evaluate your research as well, and understand its limitations, such that like the area which you are choosing, it is limited. Of course, you can't do it for the whole world. You have to choose a specific area, a specific time period, and you should also know your research's relevance in the time today. For example, for my IA, I did my IA on stubble burning and its effect on Delhi's air quality index. So the limitation of my IA was that it was only limited to Delhi, not to NCR or Haryana and Punjab, where stubble burning is a major problem as well. And also the years I took were from I remember they were like 2011 to 2020. So yeah, that was it made my IA relevant in today's times. Just know the limitations and the strengths of your IA, and always have objectivity in your whole report. Don't like choose one perspective and keep on writing. Just like your uh, long questions in paper two, have multiple perspectives in your IA. It would really help you score a very good grade.
Brilliant. So Kushagra, now tell me, could you share an example of common mistake that ESS student often make in their IA, and what is your suggestion they should avoid that particular mistake?
Just the tip I gave you. don't write a math IA. from what I reckon from my classes, everybody got this problem. They were writing, they had overused mathematics. So the mathematical aspect of the IA was completely overpowering the ESS aspect of the ESS IA. So I guess that is a very big mistake. I mean, scholars, even I usually make for like writing ESS IA. So I guess my suggestion would be use the correlation and mathematics to justify your research rather than using your research as a justification for your correlation. I mean, the correlation should not be the hero of your research. It should be used as a justification, uh, or as an evidence to just justify the result, justify your whole agenda of your research, to just reach to the conclusion of what the ESS aspect is all about. So for me personally, it was I used my research and my strong Spearsman correlation to conclude that stubble burning does impact Delhi's air quality index to a very high extent. So
Brilliant.
yeah, so the mathematics to justify your ESS.
Brilliant. And then Kushagra, I still remember when this particular batch, we had 44 students. When I asked the first draft, you was the first student submitted the entire batch first draft, even second draft, even final draft also. Okay. So now my question is, what are the potential consequences if a student is not submitting the ESSIA on time? And why is timely submission ESSIA is crucial?
Okay, so the first and the biggest consequence of not submitting your ESSIE on time is confusion. Yeah, it's the worst enemy, confusion. So you will not know what your IE is worth if you don't get feedback because you did not submit your IE on time. Uh, I remember many ESA students sitting outside of the classroom with their laptops on their laps and wondering what their IE is all about, And yeah, I remember that time as well. So lack of feedback can cause your IA to not have the correct direction. I know that in our batch, you were the only teacher for ESS. So I guess it would have gotten very hectic for you as well, to give feedback to like all these students and them not submitting on time. I mean, they face the biggest consequence of, not knowing to how to lead their IA and are their thought processes and all their mathematical aspects, are they correct or are they in place or are they not? And eventually the ones who did not submit on time, they were the ones who used to sit outside the classes and just to wonder what ESSI is all about. So I guess submitting your IA would enable the teacher, you, to provide with a comprehensive feedback rather than just telling the final score. Like, you used to give like an ultimatum, like submit this IA or you will get a 4 or a 3 or you will fail. I mean, that does motivate or incentivize student to start working and submitting on time and avoid confusion in their IA, and they would know how to score a good score and not the one which you told them, which they never have expected throughout the
Brilliant.
whole journey.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So these are the last part, some of the question. So tell me, Kushagra, what is the one factor that makes studying ESS unique and interesting in compared to the other subject?
Okay. ESS, I guess, the aspect of different perspectives and environmental value systems is what made me genuinely interested in the subject. You get the liberty to communicate your own opinions on topics, which is what I admire about ESS. Like in other definitive subjects which do not change or which do not require your input in any ways, like in mathematics, until you come up with like a big theory which you have proved, you cannot input in the whole uh, discipline of mathematics. But in ESS, I guess it is more open than other subjects. You can input your perspectives there, and it is a sort of personal ideology or a philosophy to a person. I mean, you could follow like a completely different environmental value system than your peer in the class, but both are valid. So that is what I really like about the, which really interests me about the subject. I mean, uh, until you justify your claims, you have valid opinions in ESS. It is very open in compared to other subjects, which makes it very interesting.
Brilliant. Kushagra, your last question. I still remember our first ESS class on online, then it's open, face to face. I never thought, okay, you will become a team leader, but you have shown the caliber in the class. I've selected you as a team leader. I hope you remember our meeting, become the team leader. You have shown your caliber each and every class, asking a question, participating. Even outside your team, you have helped many people for the IA. I know some of the students passed IA because of your help. So my last question is, how was your journey in ESS? Is than you expected it to be in terms of learning and expectation from the subject?
So I'll be very honest here. Going back to the time when I came to DP, I chose ESS because it was compulsory to have a science in your regular diploma. I really didn't want a sciences. Uh, I went to visual arts, but then I met the teachers and they told me that if you want a regular diploma, choose a science or you won't get a regular diploma. And I was like, it was compulsory for me to choose a sciences, so I went to ESS because I thought it would be simple as a subject and it only has an SL in the school, so I guess I should just go there and complete my DP journey and concentrate on the other subjects like economics and business and mathematics. So, but as time passed, uh, I gained interest in the subject. But I reckon this one test which you gave, I guess in the first or the second class of ESS in first semester, and I remember getting a 1 out of 20, and I really hated ESS at that point of time because first of all I didn't want a science, and then I got a 1 out of 20. I was like, I'm gonna fail my diploma because of this one subject, and but I guess things completely changed. When I started engaging with the subject, uh, it really helped me to really understand, and I changed my perspective about this subject as well. I didn't uh, view it as an inferior subject, and I guess most students, what they do is they treat ESS as a subject which is only to be taken if you have interest in economics and like you want to do a regular diploma, come to ESS. But I guess ESS is a very important sciences as well. And in my journey, I've seen it. I mean, I understood the philosophy of this subject and its outward-looking approach, and like requiring the inputs of students and to share their ideas and understanding about topics. Uh, I mean, if you claim something and you adequately, just justify it, your claims would be justified and they would be validated. So I mean, this approach helped me to learn new perspectives and ideas which made me look forward for ESS lessons, right? So during my journey, earlier I used to think of ESS, some sort of an extra baggage of subject. As time passed, I really understood the subject and its importance in real life as well. Being environmentally conscious, it is a very big thing in 21st century, and ESS really does tell you a lot about what how everything is working in real life, and the ecological impact that humans are currently having, carbon footprints and everything. uh, we are leaving an enormous mark on the face of earth, and ESS really helps you understand that. And as young minds who are learning ESS, it really helps to have a mindset which is sympathetic towards nature and environment. I guess
Brilliant.
this journey really helped me to understand that.
Brilliant. I think you have written another one paper two essay question. Kushagra,
Ha.
thank you so much for coming for the season 3 Gurumantra podcast. Your answers definitely will be enlightened and enlightening for the other student also. I wish you all the success in future and endeavor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everybody.
Please start.
Hello, everyone. I am Kushagra from the class of 2023, and I scored 40 on the IB examination and scored 7 in ESS. Tune in to Gurumantra podcast to hear the views and perceptions of the IB students' journey, and subscribe to the podcast to hear all the latest editions. All the best.
Good.
It might take 2 or 3 takes. Hello, everybody. My name is Kushagra Bhardwaj, and I am a former IBDP student, and I scored 40 points in my IB papers and a 7 in ESS. So, being an ESS student, 2 years in Guru Sir's class were blast, and we had a lot of fun there. Also, a lot of education and learning about the subject of environmental system and societies. The classroom was very intuitive, and we had a lot of fun. And I would like to thank Guru Sir for his mentorship and all the resources he provided to me. They really helped me achieve a 7. Undoubtedly, one major aspect for my success in ESS is Guru Sir, his resources, and his mentorship. And also, I guess ESS Guru Mantra, it is an amazing website, especially for your IES and past papers. It will, I mean, getting a 7 in ESS is in your hands, but ESS Guru Mantra is a path you can choose to really upgrade your ESS learning. So thank you, everybody.